You know, it may not be as great as Chloe Condon's intro is, and it might not have a ripping saxophone solo, but I gotta tell you, I'm proud of that intro music. I didn't make it myself, but I did select it from a list of other 80s style songs. And I'm happy, and you should be happy too. And hello, welcome to Meet the Tanukis. My name's PJ Metz. Today we'll be doing this is the first episode of this show where we're going to be meeting people who work at GitLab and that are team members at GitLab, and we're going to start with people that I see all the time. But eventually, if you guys tell enough people about this and get enough people into this, I almost said Zoom, it's not a Zoom, onto this Twitch show, I might be able to get really important people at GitLab to come hang out with me and my anime backdrop and my unavoidable personality that I bring to the stream. So here's the concept. First off, GitLab is a great company. We make a product that helps developers make products, and our logo is a tanuki, and the tanuki is a raccoon dog from Asia. It's popular in mythology, especially in Japan. And when I say raccoon dog, I mean it. Like, it basically looks like someone took a raccoon and the dog and stuck them in an easy bake oven at the same time. And what came out is the tanuki. And they're cute and they're adorable. And that's our logo, our mascot. It represents our company. It is curious, it is clever, and it is handsome when it dresses in traditional Japanese garb, as you'll see when you Google tanuki cute. Today, I can't tell you how excited I am to have this particular guest on, because before I even thought that I could work in tech, before I even thought that I would be working at a company like GitLab, I was meeting this person in the chats of streams I was doing with Chloe and with my other friend, Brandon Minnick. And I'm just super excited to have someone who watched me when I was streaming, and I'd be like, I don't know what a class is. What's a method? I forgot a semicolon. This person came in and helped us name bots. They came in and helped us come up with puns. And they were an amazing supporter of me all through my journey into tech. Ladies and gentlemen, people of all genders, people of non-genders, get ready. It's Brendan O'Leary.
Hey, PJ.
How's
it going?
Man, they said we wouldn't make it, and we made it.
And here we are. Look at us. Look at us. Who would have thought?
Who'd have thought? My wife and I say it to each other all the time. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling excited to be here. And yeah, really honored to be the first guest on the Meet the Tanukis.
That's right.
Can be cute when I dress up too.
Yeah, we are both a lot like Tanukis. When we really put in the effort, we're quite handsome little creatures, aren't we? Brendan, first off, you're going to need to tell us a little bit about yourself. You're going to need to tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, your history, your favorite pizza toppings, all that stuff. And when we do that, you get to be the focus and have all the attention
wow,
to you.
That. I love it. Well, thanks. Yeah, PJ. Yeah, my name's Brendan O'Leary. I'm a developer evangelist at GitLab. I've been at GitLab for almost 4 years now. It'll be 4 years in October. Which is like an eternity in startup years. That's, makes me like an elder GitLab team member.
Elder.
Much like I'm an
Go
elder.
ask the ancient ones.
Yeah, and I live in Maryland, just to the east of DC, to the south of Baltimore. Actually, where I'm sitting right now is almost exactly 23 miles from the center of Baltimore City and 23 miles from the center of Washington, D.C.
Well, like your seat exactly, not just like your area.
I've done I've got lasers and GPS and exactly where
satellites.
No, yeah. So I'm over towards Annapolis, Maryland. For those that don't know, Maryland in the United States, we've got a huge bay. We love eating a lot of like weird seafood, like crabs, the Maryland blue crab being the number one, or oysters. These things that look like whoever thought that you would want to eat them.
We are gonna talk about how weird crabs are later. I promise. Don't worry.
That's a whole stream in and of itself. How weird crabs are. But yeah, I have been in technology most of my career. I kind of started in more of a traditional like IT, like break fix kind of system admin sort of role. But then I spent a long time in software and in medical software, which is really interesting. It's a very interesting field of or branch of software development. A lot of like heavy requirements on not getting things wrong, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And did a couple other things, and then I was a GitLab user for a long time. Well, for a time, and then uh, had a friend.
Decades.
Yeah,
You just got decades of GitLab use under your belt.
yeah. Well, I was a user, and then I had a friend who was getting recruited to GitLab, and told me to check it out. And I was like, oh, well, it's probably a company too. I should check it out. And ended up reading a bunch of the handbook. My family was on vacation in North Carolina, and it was raining most of the time. And so I was like reading the GitLab handbook on my vacation, and my wife and my parents were really like tired of hearing about GitLab. Anyway, and so then I came to GitLab. I've been in a couple different roles here. I spent time in professional services. I kind of started our services group. I've spent time in our product group, and then I became an evangelist, kind of for the same reason PJ did, where in a way. Chloe Condon was a huge inspiration to me too, along with like Kelsey Hightower and these other folks that you see out there. And I met Chloe for the first time in person, I want to say fall of 2009 or something like that, 2019 or something like that.
I was going to say 2009, she might have still been in college.
No, but 2019, and like it was when I was being recruited by my the person who brought me into DevRel at GitLab, and I kind of been following Chloe's rise and her popularity, and then seeing her speak in person and meeting her, I was like, this really is what I want to do. So I give her a lot of credit for me.
We all want to be Chloe, honestly. For those of you who don't know, Chloe Condon is a developer advocate, cloud advocate at Microsoft, and she just has so much personality and so much intelligence about ways to connect with people, and she's joyous to watch and a lot of fun to follow on Twitter, and a fierce advocate for people from non-traditional roles getting into tech, which is part of how her and I connected. She was like, oh, you're a high school teacher who wants to learn tech and start working in it. That's my wheelhouse. Someone who would normally not be given the time of day by a tech company, and she took me under her wing, her bright fluorescent 90s colored wings, and she has been a major inspiration for me. It's so cool to hear that she inspired you just as you were starting to think about DevRel, and you're like, she does what I want to do. And so shout out to Chloe Condon, y'all.
For sure. Yeah, so that's what got me here. About me personally, like I said, I'm married. I have 4 small children, which is too many children, is how I put it.
Make sure you tell them there's too many of you.
Oh, they know. I could pull one of them in right now, and they would say, I would say it's 4 too many children. They'd say yes, because it was the first time we went out with the 4th, like after she was born, and went out to like a park, and we're pushing the baby in the stroller, and I said to my wife, I was like, this is too many children. And she said, it's a little late. I'm like, yeah, I know. This is a statement of fact. Like, I can't.
We could just leave one here. We'll give him $50 and 7.
They're cute. Like someone will do something.
I've read Oliver Twist. I know he'll be fine.
So yeah, but and so that's great. That's most of my free time outside of work. I also enjoy woodworking. And I'm not very good at it, as you can see from like the massive band-aid on my finger from earlier this week, but I enjoy it anyway.
My stream's having connectivity issues.
Oh no!
Keep talking about your life, and I'm gonna go get this hardwired in.
Yeah. What else about my life? That's a great question. I grew up in Annapolis, Maryland. So Annapolis is this gorgeous town in Maryland. It's kind of like a old, kind of like a mini Boston, if you will. And so it kind of was shocking to me when like that wasn't the norm outside of it when I went to college.
Mini Boston. All these different things. That.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, a very small colonial old town. Yeah, what else? I don't know. That's most of me. I mean, the kids are most of it, and they're going back to
I
school
mean, when you
next
got
week.
4, that's
Yeah.
definitely most of it.
And they're going back to school next week, which is exciting because, you know, I've been, like I said, working at GitLab for 4 years. So I've been working remote, which is great. I love it. It's fantastic. I get to cook dinner most nights.
Yeah.
Versus like back when I was commuting 45 minutes, like who knows if I even made dinner, like made
Right.
it to dinner versus like now I'm the primary person cooking dinner.
What's your specialty? If it's like you got to cook one meal, what are you going to turn to?
Okay, it's going to sound ridiculous. You're going to laugh, but I'm telling you, I make the best grilled cheese you've ever had in your life.
No, I believe it.
Oh, yeah,
dads have grilled cheese superpowers.
I know it's kind of a little gimmicky, but or like an easy one. I also make this thing that I don't know that it is chow mein, but my dad's family's always called it chow mein. Basically it was like, you know, my parents, I'm sure similar to your parents, PJ, probably like their parents were Depression era kids, right?
Yeah.
And so like my grandmother was always like really keen on making sure to use everything. And so like if they had like a turkey or a chicken or something, she'd make stock and then she'd like make this like stew kind of thing with like the stock that's freshly made and water chestnuts and all kinds of like Asian vegetables, and then put it over chow mein noodles. I guess that kind of makes it chow mein then. But yeah, that's kind of my family's specialty, and it's like a little.
I mean, technically, chow mein is just noodles, veggies, and like whatever. It was invented in America.
Okay,
because
I believe.
Yeah, Chinese restaurants were looking for a way to not just serve the local Chinese population, the Asian immigrant population. They wanted to kind of branch out, and what they came up with was chow mein. They found that it was like more palatable. Imagine 1950s Americans trying to eat something like like 5 spice, like chicken. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to be a thing.
We eat Jello molds with Spam in it. We're not trying this.
Yes, this is the Jello mold of Asian foods. Like I have no direct connection to Asian culture, but hey, I think it's really good, and it's just what they've always called it.
I learned that from there's a great documentary about finding General Tso, and it's about General Tso's chicken and the history behind it. So good. That's awesome. So good. So that's your go-to dish. Mine has been chicken parmesan, but I don't make it as much anymore because my wife is like, we eat a lot of cheese and pasta. We need to be careful. And I'm like, okay. So now we do like a lot of stir fry and soups and stuff that doesn't have as much pasta. But also we both love carbs, so we end up coming back to carbs in different ways all the time. Listen, you have just told us your life story. You talked about being at GitLab for 4 years. Recently, you have done a lot of work and talk about accessibility in tech, and that's something I'd really like to talk to you about today. Mostly about that little apostrophe in your name and the trouble that that's caused you. Can you tell us about your talks on advocacy and on accessibility that you've been giving lately?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I've got this. You know, I have this. Like you said, I have this apostrophe in my last name, O'Leary. It's very German. It's not German. But I always say Brendan Dennis O'Leary. It's a super German name, and most people laugh like you did, but sometimes people are like, "Oh wait," and like I've changed their whole worldview.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's this Irish for like son of Leary, which like is from the time of like feudal lords and Celtic lords in Ireland and whatnot, but. Anyway, computer systems don't like the apostrophe because, well, lots of reasons. You know, the biggest is probably SQL, right? A single quote like can end a SQL statement, and so if you don't escape it correctly, you're going to cause problems. So, a lot of systems out there just won't take my name or like do weird stuff with it. My dad's given up; like he just writes O'Leary with no apostrophe, and I'm just like hard-headed and. Won't give up. And so I use that as kind of a springboard for this this concept of building inclusively, because it's almost a silly thing. I mean, it is. It's part of my identity, and it'd be nice if people acknowledged it and didn't invalidate it. Like sometimes they literally say your name is invalid, and I'm like, well, that's literally invalidating. Like you can't be invalid. But there's a lot of bigger problems, you know, about accessibility in tech, even than that. Like again, I can work around it. But a lot of folks can't work around, like someone who's differently abled or, has, a hard time with seeing or hearing, like they can't work around things that are audio only or visual only. And so I would talk a little bit about that because there's a lot of very easy ways to make what we're building more accessible. And then there's also, this kind of building with versus building for people. So I talk about that a lot on buildinclusive.com, and this talk I've been giving. When you build for people, it's nice because you can, accommodate them, right? Like I talk about how the Americans with Disabilities Act, requires accommodations. Like it requires you to, have a ramp for someone to use a wheelchair to get into a building. But, a lot of times that's like some other entrance, right? And you've othered than people that have to use that entrance. And so I think it's really critical to not just build for people, but build with people. And if you're building with those people, they'd probably say, well, let's just make the front door flat with the outside so you can just go in no matter how you're mobile. And so, yeah, I talk about that and a lot of other things in this talk. And I've tried to build this like set of resources so folks can find like, here's how you can easily add, thought behind accessibility and inclusiveness when you're building software, because it's like I said, it's problems that are solved, but it's normally ones that people backburner. And if you just put a little effort in, you can solve them with a kind of like known solutions that exist today.
Right. And especially that idea of building with is so important, because when you've got the voice in the room, you have to listen, as opposed to creating something, you've got a product, it's done, you're ready to ship it, and then you turn to a group of people and you say, hey, does this affect you? And they're like, yeah, how did you? And so that's another argument for diversity in hiring and diversity of thought in all of tech. It's not accessible if you don't come to it until after the fact,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that video that I've embedded there is a commercial from Apple about some of the accessibility things that they've been building. And the spoiler alert in the commercial is, in the end, it was actually built by a person who had to use completely different inputs, and they actually edited the commercial in iMovie. So it's like this really well edited, Apple level commercial you'd expect, but edited, in these different ways than your video editor that's using their mouse and keyboard and able to use kind of all those things the way you or I would.
Absolutely. And it's I like that the way the conversation goes is where you say, I have some experience with accessibility issues, and then you almost immediately say, but it's not that bad for me. I get it. I understand. In the scope of things, this is not a problem. Yes, it's my identity, but for instance, your father's like, I've just decided that this is whatever. There are people whose health, whose safety, whose very existence requires thought on the part of other people. And as a society, we consider other people, and that's how we become better, and that's how we achieve great things. And we need to include more people when we're talking about technology and innovation, because we need that input, and those people deserve to be heard, not just afterward, during the process.
Exactly. 100%.
Man, what makes me so happy to know you is we met because you were helping me make puns with Twitter bots. And then we get to talk. I just found out what an amazing person you are. And I got to work with you. I actually, when I found out I was going to interview at GitLab, I was like, I know a dude there. And I think I reached out to you on Twitter. I was like, hey, I think I'm interviewing at GitLab. And you were like, hey, I think it's on my team.
Exactly. Yeah. It was really exciting to see because, again, once you've, the other huge benefit to doing what you or I do is as you've build this kind of community and platform, you get to do really cool things. Chloe gets to say, look, I'm going to go mentor someone into tech from outside of it, or this talking about accessibility and inclusivity and software building. Is that an OKR in my GitLab thing? Probably not, but is it okay that that's what I'm talking about? Because I'm supposed to be representing GitLab and understanding how developers are working together and collaborating to build software. Yes, 100%. And so that's a really cool thing about what we do, and why I highly encourage it, and was so excited to have you join the team, because that kind of energy and that like willingness to learn is kind of the number one thing that really is going to sustain anyone in a tech job, regardless of what they did before. Yeah,
I tell you, it's a hell of a first job for me. And my story, for those who don't know, like I said, I was a high school English teacher. I actually quit in the middle of the year because I was worried I wasn't going to be able to get a job in tech if I didn't really, really bear down and really focus on what I needed to do. I had been, spending about 5 hours a week learning to code. I had been building a website with one mentor, building Twitter bots with another. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm doing all that, but like, am I going to get a job out of this? Am I actually going to be changing careers? And I made the hard decision to leave at the end of the third quarter of the 2020-2021 school year. And I put in, it was like a month and a half later that I was working at GitLab, and I couldn't be luckier. Like, honestly, education evangelist, that's not a job that I was out there looking for. It just showed up. And to be working with my manager, who's Christina Hupy, a former professor turned manager at GitLab for the education program. Y'all, I told my recruiter, you guys wrote this job description for me. Like, it felt like you were studying my LinkedIn and you were looking me up and you were watching my Twitter, and then you wrote a description. You were like, maybe he'll see it. It's like a love letter.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Sees it. Yeah, no, I mean, that's one of the reasons I was so excited when you reached out that you were applying, because it's like the perfect fit. We've got in open source in general, and then especially with something like GitLab, you have so many kind of different communities that come at it, and education's a huge one. Like, I remember when I first joined GitLab, and we still need to figure this out, PJ. Actually, this is like live on air. What my alma mater is one of the largest core users in our EDU program, and I totally want to like go and do something with them.
Dude, we can plan a trip once trips are allowed again.
Yeah, exactly.
We are going to visit your alma mater. And are you a Terp?
Yeah. So,
okay, absolutely. I'm down. Let's do it. We'll go on a Saturday in fall, maybe next year.
I'm excited. But yeah. Because fun fact is they have one of the University of Maryland's always been, I mean, not the top computer science school in the world, but a great computer science school, and at the forefront of a lot of the internet. They were like on ARPANET back in the day. One of the like 13 DNS root servers is there, which is cool. And the biggest thing that's cool about it when you're a student there, like, this is like, I'm gonna nerd out for a second here. First of all, back when I was a student there, you got to sign a public IP address like on their network, because they had like such a large range of IP addresses. They were just like, there was no like private public, like you got a public IP address on your laptop. And then the internet was so fast. It was so fast. Like,
I bet it was cruising.
Never had internet. Like when you're at the top of the the stack, you're,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, internet's.
What years did you attend UM? Was that like 2002?
2004, yeah. So 2004 to 2008 would have been.
That's fantastic. Those are early days of internet. Like, I remember I started at UF in 2003.
Yep.
And I remember having a laptop that didn't have an Ethernet port.
Yes.
You had to slide a card in that had the Ethernet port on
yes. I love it. Yes, that's the early days of the internet. And for me, it was like the early days of then like social media. I remember Facebook coming to Maryland, like when it was universities only, and it's like, oh, you're going to be able to sign up with a UMD address in November or something. And now it's like, a seventh of the world is on there or whatever.
I remember being mad when they opened it up to the public.
Yeah.
It was a college thing. I was like, it's all .edu address. It's all people my age. And then they were like, we're opening it up to everybody. And I was like, this is the end of Facebook. And I remember they were like, your mom's going to be on here. I was like, no, not my mom.
Now my mom's on there more than I am.
That's right.
Yep.
Honestly, there has been a decline in Facebook. I'm not going to say it, but I'm saying it. I don't like to use Facebook. That's why I'm on Instagram. Oh, wait, they're owned by Facebook. That's why I use WhatsApp.
Oh, whoopsies.
Well, that's why I use, What is their?
Oh, the Oculus Quest.
Oculus.
Oh my god.
I do not have an Oculus. I have a PlayStation 4.
I don't either. But have you seen did you see the like virtual meeting Metaspace thing? Have you seen
Oh, not a fan.
Not a fan. Really not a fan.
No, thank you. I think I posted like a Scanner Darkly GIF when I saw that or something. I was like, "This is it. We're done."
Right. That sounds about right. Pack it up, everybody.
Yep, we're done. This is it.
Yeah.
And then like it still looks so weird. He was like, "We can run meetings in here." I'm like, "Absolutely not. We can't. This is
no, thank you.
Wide open to problems." Speaking of accessibility, hey, we're gonna have a meeting in the virtual world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Bingo. Cause a lot of issues.
Well, listen, this is a short show. It's literally just a get to know you. How are you? Is there anything else you want to tell the people about? Anything that you have coming up that you're excited about? Anything you want to plug? Now's your chance.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I think the biggest thing I'd want to tell people is, learn from PJ. You can get a job in tech. You don't have to have a computer science degree. Spoiler alert, I don't have a computer science degree. And so, yeah, check out buildinclusive.com. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at O'Leary Crew. No apostrophe. Just O'Leary.
Thanks, Twitter.
And happy to chat more there or talk about GitLab or building accessible software or, what your bot should be named if you're going to build a bot. Puns, how you can work Taylor Swift into your everyday life. Mean Girls as the height of Western culture and art. Really anything. I
used to tell my students Mean Girls is a great film with a capital F. And they never believed me. And I was like, you guys don't understand. Absolute pinnacle. The zenith. Well, listen, that's Meet the Tanukis, episode 1. Brendan, I can't thank you enough for being my first guest. Those of you who tuned in, thank you. Tell your friends about this show. It doesn't work on a schedule. You just kind of have to keep your eye out on it. Here's a secret, though. I know I'm doing 2 episodes of Meet the Tanukis in the same day next week. Next Wednesday, tune in to meet some more of my teammates. And that'll be it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Enjoy this outro video. It's the same as the intro.